When we connect these activities, you saw I was connecting them with arrows, right? And these arrows represent a relationship between the activities. That relationship between those boxes can be of any of these four types: finish to start, start to start, finish to finish, start to finish. And there's also leads and lags. Don't panic, I'm going to explain them. So the four relationship types: finish to start, and these are the four types. Finish to start means that, like it's shown here, this second activity cannot start until this one is finished. So this has to finish before the other one can start. In a way, you see the arrow is coming from the finish side of things over here. You see the finish side is this side. The start side is here. The start side is here in the beginning. It's the way we write in English, left to right, okay? This is the beginning, this is the end of the activity. So this is the end. This has to end before this one can start. All right, so this is finish to start. So if I connect any two activities on my schedule, it will always show finish to start. And then we have another activity here. This one says start to start. Start to start is saying that this activity has to start before this one can start. It's not the same as both of them starting at the same time. Okay, it's not the same. If this does not start, the one above, activity A, B will not start. So let me show you on the software how this is usually done. So these two activities between Jack and, let me give a name to this one. Who's working on this? Sealing all boxes. Let me add, who's going to be assigned to this? I'm going to add Joe. Joe has not been assigned on anything. We need to keep him busy. So Jack needs to finish. If I click on the arrow, this here, the arrow between Jack and Joe, you see it says FS, finish to start. So Jack has to finish wrapping all items before Joe can start sealing all the boxes. All right? They have a finish to start relationship. If I decide that after Jack is done, Joe needs to wait a few days before they start sealing all boxes, then I will put a lag. A lag is a mandatory waiting period between two activities. So let's say I want him to wait 3 days before he can start his own work. This is a finish to start with a lag or waiting period of 3 days, and then Joe will have a 3-day activity. Let's make his activity 4 days just so it looks better. Okay. And you'll see that the WBS will finish, which is this one here, will start on July 6th, will finish on July 22nd. Why? I have a lag, a waiting period. If I remove the lag, make it 0, you see now we can finish on the 17th. And you see it became shorter here. And I'll tell you later why the colors keep changing. The red ones are on the critical path. This is not on the critical path, but I'll explain that later. All right, so the lag puts a waiting period between them and so makes the project longer. If there's a lead, let's say I put a -2-day lead, what it means is that Joe doesn't need to wait for Jack to finish everything. 2 days before Jack is finished, Joe will be able to start. Watch what happens here. That's what a lead. This is a lead. It means I have a lead time. You know, I can start before. Lag gives it a distance. Now what I want to do is I want to show you, this is always based on finish to start. So I'm going to change this back to 0, but I want to make this a start to start, okay? Start to start, hit OK. This is what start to start looks like. Jack needs to start before Joe can start. What happens if Jack does not start? What if I push Jack's starting time over? You see Joe's time is also pushed over. So they're not really starting at the same time. If they were starting at the same time and Jack is delayed, Joe would have already started. It's like you and me were leaving together to go to a restaurant, driving from home, and we agree to get there by a certain time, so we decide we should leave by 10 in the morning, let's say, right? Let's say I am delayed for whatever reason. That doesn't stop you from leaving at 10. There's nothing that says if I'm delayed, you do not leave. That's because you don't have a start from me for you to start relationship. What you have is we both start at 10. So when we are both starting at 10, it's different than saying start to start. Start to start would be like, Don't leave until I send you a WhatsApp message that I'm leaving. If I don't leave, don't leave. Because you're going to get there, for example, and wait, and I will not be there, right? So wait for me to leave before you leave, right? That's a start to start. If I don't start leaving, you don't want to start leaving. That's a start to start. If we just agree 10 o'clock, by default, you will leave, and you are not dependent on me, and I'm not dependent on you, that's not start to start. That's, both of them happening at the same time. Hopefully you got the separation. So start to start here, Jack has to start. If Jack can start earlier, Joe can start earlier. That's start to start. There's one more, which is finish to finish. So I'm going to change this. Finish to finish. It's saying Jack has to finish before Joe can finish. By the way, the start to start, I can give you an example. If you were painting the new office that we're moving to, and let's say we have 4 floors, big floors, or 5 big floors that we will be occupying, and painting takes time. And let's say we want 2 coats of paint, okay, 2 coats of paint. You could do the whole 1 coat, and once you finish, do the whole 2nd coat. Or you can begin the 1st coat, and whatever day you begin, next day, another group starts painting where you painted yesterday, because by then it will be dry, while you are continuing on the rest. So you paint 1 floor, right, for the 1st day. Next day you go to the 2nd floor, but another group paints the 2nd coat on the 1st floor again. So they are just 1 day behind you. They will start 1 day after you start. That's what a start to start will look like. Once you start, they will start 1 day after. So start to start with a 1 day lag, 1 day waiting period. That's an example of it. Finish to finish that I'm showing here between Jack and Joe, saying Joe cannot finish until Jack is finished. It does not affect anything from the start. It's only on the finish side. If Jack is delayed, Joe will be delayed. Doesn't extend Joe's work, it just delays him. Joe can only finish when Jack finishes. An example would be if I'm preparing the final report, like this one here in project management, prepare final report. I can start this final report anytime, but I can only finish it when the last bit of cleaning or setup is done. I cannot submit a final report when the move isn't complete. So I can start my report anytime, but I'm really dependent on all of the other work finishing before I can actually put the final touches to my report. So I have a finish to finish relationship with a lot of activities pertaining to the move. So these are the relationships that we have. The only one that I didn't cover is start to finish, because that's hardly ever used in project management. It is saying one activity has to start before the other one can finish. Don't try to come up with examples for projects. There really isn't too many of those. And PMI tells you it's barely ever used. But I can think of rotation and shifts. Let's say nurses in a hospital, the second shift nurse has to start before the first shift nurse can leave, right? Cashiers also, the second cashier must start before the first one can leave. So they have a start to finish. When you start, I can finish up my work and leave. That's in operational shifts. All right. I explained leads and lags. So leads allows you to start something before, and a lag says you have to wait for a specific period of time. Another place to use lag, by the way, is when you order supplies or order anything and you know it's going to take 2 weeks. So you can say, once I finish ordering, it will be a lag of 2 weeks or 10 days, let's say, or 14 days before the product will come. So this way your schedule is more realistic. From order to receiving, you put a 14-day lag. This way you can have proper timing on your schedule to indicate that. If we have to wait for something to dry up, we also use lags. If we have to wait for approval because it takes that long, 3 days, 5 days, then we use lags. We use lags for waiting periods, and that makes your schedule more realistic.